A trap engineered by someone else forced Adrian to marry me. After the wedding he treated me with perfect courtesy. I have a sleepwalking disorder, every morning I wake up draped over him. He only ever says, mildly, no problem. Later, with the Hawthorne family's power behind me, I took back everything that should have been mine. When I learned that Adrian still cherished a long-lost first love in his heart, I chose to step aside. Let's get a divorce. I'm sorry for using you. The gentle elegance he used to wear vanished, he gripped my chin with brutal force. Ivy, I'm not stupid. I stepped into this game of my own free will, so go ahead, try to divorce me. I blinked awake, feeling heat crawl over my skin. I couldn't help tugging at my collar, desperate for the faintest breath of cool air. But nothing eased the burning. Hot, it hurts. The door burst open and the reek of hard liquor rolled in. A man staggered inside, loosening his tie. Seeing another person, I instinctively pressed myself against him. His skin was ice cold, the relief made me sigh. But it wasn't nearly enough, I wanted more. When my palm slid over the ridges of his abs he seized my wrist. I bristled, tipped my head, and nipped the hollow of his throat. Please, drunk color flushed his cheeks, his chest rose and fell in ragged surges. A low voice brushed my ear. Look straight at me. You get 3 seconds to decide if you really mean this. I couldn't care less what he was saying, his talking was just noise. I cut the chatter by crushing my mouth to his. For a second he froze. Then, swearing viciously, you asked for this, he locked an arm around the small of my back and took control, dragging us both into deeper waters. I woke the next morning to the feel of firm muscle beneath my hand. I gave it an extra squeeze or two before reality struck. Wait, this was all wrong. My body felt as if it had been run over. I jerked upright. A man. Why was there a man beside me? What did I do last night? I studied that handsome face, definitely Adrian. Only broken fragments floated back, I seemed to have forced a kiss on him. Mortified, I remembered the rumors. Adrian was cold, ruthless. Would he hit me when he woke? Damn the Chase couple for digging this pit and shoving me into it. 2 days earlier Rosalind had dropped to her knees in front of me, sobbing, gripping my hands. Ivy, I'm begging you, only you can save the Vance family. I wrenched free, my face blank. My mother is long dead, and you can drop the act. Why don't you send your own daughter to seduce Adrian? You think I'm that cheap? My father slammed the table. Ivy, your sister's still a minor, how can you say such a thing? I gave a cold laugh. You had no trouble telling me to sleep with Adrian. I'm just applying your logic. After my mom died, that woman and her daughter moved in overnight. My so-called little sister is the same age as Leo, which means my father was already sleeping with Rosalind while my mother was pregnant. I loathe them. Nonsense. I raised you for 20+ years and this is how you repay the Vance family? You'll go, whether you want to or not. I turned my back on his curses and walked out. At the gate Leo, just home from school, caught me. What's wrong, sis? Nothing. Study hard. I'll be away for a while, think of it as a private tribulation. He's taking the college entrance exams soon, my family's filth shouldn't touch him. When the Chases first moved in he was too young to remember, and he and Lily grew up together. Even after he learned the truth he never dug deeper, there's no need for him to wade into this mess. Will you be back before my test? Since our mom died early, Leo looks up to me like a second mother. I basically became a mom without the labor pains. Relax. I'll be standing outside the gate in a cheongsam, the hottest accessory on the block. I waved and left without looking back. I never expected the Chases to double down. They had someone drug me on my way home from work and deliver me to Adrian's room. I glanced at the man still asleep, plotting my escape. I scrambled into my clothes and was tiptoeing toward the door when a low voice stopped me. "Where do you think you're going?" I froze, mortified, and turned slowly. My heart lurched the instant our eyes met. "Haha, just, morning jog." I trotted in place, the lamest excuse imaginable. Still miming a runner, I yanked the door open, and walked straight into a wall of paparazzi. They surged forward the moment they saw me. "Vance, can you confirm whether Hawthorne is inside? Word is Hawthorne is celibate, why were you in the same room? Are you two dating, Vance, or are you trying to climb into the Hawthorne fortune?" Voices overlapped until my head spun. The Vance family is small change next to Hawthorne, but we're still considered elite, just down on our luck. I tried to slam the door, but the reporters shoved forward, blocking it. Any answer would be bait in their trap. I stood paralyzed. Then Adrian stepped out in a bathrobe, pulled me against him, and shut the crowd down with a single frigid stare. No comment. He kicked the door shut, and silence finally fell. I exhaled in relief. I was wearing a midriff-bearing top, so his palm lay flush against my bare waist. Realizing how compromising we looked, I pressed a hand to his chest. Maybe let go first." He lowered his gaze, and the hand clamped around my waist loosened with visible reluctance, fingertips grazing my skin on purpose. A slow shiver ran through me. "Relax. I'll take responsibility." "Huh? Wasn't I the one who made the first move last night? Besides, this whole thing had been engineered anyway. No need. We're both adults, and it wasn't you who." Before I could finish, his eyes chilled several degrees and I felt an involuntary shiver crawl down my spine. "Did I say something wrong? Did you see that pack of paparazzi outside? In an hour we'll be front page news. Marriage is the cleanest solution for both of us." Marriage? The thought was laughable, me, a nearly bankrupt nouveau riche heiress, tying the knot with the most feared tycoon on the eastern seaboard? What am I, someone who gets to sign Ivy on a marriage certificate? Yeah, right. When the certificate actually landed in my hand, I stared at it in a daze. "That's it? We're done?" I studied the photo stapled to the license. Adrian looked effortlessly gorgeous, my face frozen mid-gape like a deer in headlights. Before I could admire it further, a long slender hand whisked the booklet away. He tucked it carefully into the inside pocket of his suit. I blinked up at him in bewilderment. "I'll keep this for the moment." Wait, didn't he already have his own copy? Why hoard mine as well? Whatever. It's just a piece of paper anyway. I turned to the car window, watching the city lights blur. A marriage born of ulterior motives is doomed from day one. Am I doing the right thing? I moved into the Hawthorne Manor the next day, sharing a bed with Adrian. He treated me with courtesy, never once crossing any line. But I have a sleepwalking disorder. Without fail I would wake up curled in the crook of his arm, arms clamped around his waist. I must have burrowed into him while asleep. I still remember the first time it happened, arms and legs wrapped around him like an octopus. I quietly disentangled myself, cheeks burning, and muttered, "Sorry." He merely raised an eyebrow and said coolly, "No worries." Eventually I grew used to it, sometimes even taking advantage to cop an extra feel. Since the wedding, my father has bombarded me with texts, all of which I've ignored. At Vance headquarters, though, I can't dodge his lectures. Our numbers are finally turning around, but you have to milk the Hawthorne connection. Build the Vance brand bigger so your little brother and sister have a safety net. I nod along. Got it. By accident I overheard him talking to Rosalind. She wants him to transfer Leo's and my shares to Lily once both kids come of age. Ivy's married to Adrian, those two will never want for anything. But Lily's different, she's always hated Lily. If we don't act, my daughter will end up with nothing. It was all I could do not to laugh. Setting aside whether those shares are even ours to begin with, the only reason my father became an overnight millionaire was the row of houses my maternal grandfather left my mom. If those properties hadn't been condemned and bought out for a fortune, he wouldn't be where he is today. Worse, Dad actually buys Rosalind's logic. No one lays a finger on what's rightfully ours. I leveraged Hawthorne resources, quietly set up my own firm, and through a series of backdoor moves, bled Vance dry. Let Lily inherit the name, all she'll get is an empty shell. At one of Adrian's friend get-togethers, the guys found out he'd tied the knot and nearly dropped their drinks. "Bro, can't believe you beat us all to the altar." "Yeah, no woman in sight for years, I was scared you batted for the other team. Kept clenching my cheeks around you." "Shut up. Even if he swung that way, he wouldn't go for your ugly mug. Bet the new Mrs. H is the long-lost first love, huh? Rumor says you've never gotten over that girl's smile." I'd been amused, until that line. My heart gave an odd lurch. Long-lost first love? I shot Adrian a complicated look. Realizing the minefield, the group fell silent. Adrian looped an arm over my shoulders and glanced down at me. "Quit spooking your sister-in-law. Watch your mouths." I'd wanted to press them for details, but with Adrian's warning the topic died. Yeah, quit the locker room crap, act civil in front of the lady." I smiled politely. "It's fine, carry on, don't mind me." Chat soon shifted to business deals. Bored, I scrolled social media on my phone. Adrian leaned in, lips brushing my ear. "Hungry? Or just bored?" I shook my head. "Nope, watching videos." Except I'd zoned out, replaying that first love comment on a loop. A dull weight settled in my chest. "You've looped that clip 10 times now." Mortifying, caught red-handed. And he'd counted while carrying on a conversation? I stayed silent. He laced his fingers through mine and stood. "Keep drinking, dinner's on me. I'm taking my wife home." "Seriously, bro? It's not even 10. The night's just starting." Adrian smirked. "I'm on a different program, I've got a wife. You single dogs wouldn't understand." My face flamed red-hot. How could he toss those words off so easily? After that night, a strange tightness had lodged in my chest. Since Adrian still carried a torch for his long-lost first love, and I had already gotten what I wanted, there didn't seem to be any reason to stay. So I decided to walk away. I went to Adrian's study and knocked, heart rattling. "Come in." When he saw me, a flicker of surprise crossed his eyes and he instantly set his work aside. I never used to seek him out here, so that expression made sense. "What is it? Ready for bed?" "I'll be done in a minute." Because of my sleepwalking disorder, he slept beside me every night to keep me safe. That was why I woke each morning in his arms. He simply pulled me to him before we fell asleep. No. I need to talk to you." He motioned for me to sit. I walked over slowly, the words sticking in my throat. "Well, how about we get a divorce?" When I said it, Adrian's hand clenched unconsciously, veins sharp beneath the skin. He didn't answer, so I kept going. "Truth is, this whole thing was a setup. I was drugged, you were plied with alcohol, and the paparazzi were planted outside. I used you to rescue Vance and to launch my own company. Without you, I couldn't have done any of it alone. Thank you for letting me learn beside you, for broadening my horizons, for helping me grow." "I'm sorry I used you." Adrian listened to every word, calm and unreadable. I wet my lips and continued. "If you feel tricked or exploited, tell me how you want to punish me. Whatever it is, I'll accept it. It had been my decision, my mistake, and I would own it." He stood and came to me. The air thickened with pressure. "Since you put it that way, I'll oblige you." All his usual gentleness vanished, he gripped my chin and kissed me hard, catching me off guard. Except for that night of chaos when I'd been barely conscious, this was my first real kiss with him, fierce, bruising. I pressed against his chest, lost. He locked me in his arms, nipping my lower lip as though it were retribution. Ivy, dare mention divorce again and see what happens. I couldn't read him. Why the anger? Did he want to stay married? Had he actually fallen for me? While I stood frozen, wondering, he hoisted me over his shoulder and headed for the bedroom. Put me down. At any moment we might run into a maid or someone from the Hawthorne Manor. How mortifying would that be? He swatted my backside. Behave. Inside the bedroom, he clicked the lock, then tossed me onto the bed. I was still dazed when he began yanking at the buttons of my pajama top. Impatient, he tore it open, buttons skittered across the floor. Adrian, don't do anything crazy. He had always treated me with courtesy and tenderness. I had never seen him like this, face dark, as though he might crush me any second. I scrambled backward, but he caught my ankle and pulled me beneath him, sealing my mouth again with his. I resisted at first, until he guided my hand to the hard plane of his abs. In an instant I surrendered. Later, Adrian's sweat dripped onto my back, sticky and hot. Still want that divorce? I bit my lip, a tear squeezing from the corner of my eye. You jerk. He bent to my ear, voice velvet. Ivy, I'm not stupid. I always knew exactly who was under me. I stepped into this trap of my own free will. What? He'd known everything? Before I could process it, he flipped me over, wrapped my arms around his neck, and kissed me again. Only that night did I realize how much he loved to kiss. When I finally woke the next day, my mind could function again. We'd gone at it so long it was almost noon. The man had already left for the office. Staring at the ceiling, I replayed his last declaration. He'd stepped into the trap, for me? But wasn't there some long-lost first love he couldn't forget? How could he have feelings for me? Then again, when we first met he had been drunk, just drunk. The one who'd been drugged was me. And the next morning he had been the one to suggest marriage. Everything, in fact, had proceeded exactly as he wished. Don't tell me the guy is actually in love with me? Before I knew it, the corners of my mouth were sneaking upward. After breakfast I planned to go to Vance. The startup still needed constant supervision. If not for Adrian, I wouldn't have played hooky all morning. I hadn't even stepped outside when my father and Rosalind blocked the doorway. What do you want? My tone was ice. Only my brother counted as family. Besides fathering me, this man had never fulfilled a single parental duty. At every school open house, my chair sat empty. He sometimes forgot my age and my grade. Yet Lily, his other daughter, always had both parents front and center. At least he'd paid the bills. I'd left him an empty shell of a company to salvage if he could. If he ever needs support in old age, I'll pay what I owe, but the relationship ends here. Well, Ivy, you hit it well, Rosalind snapped. If I hadn't combed the books, I'd never have known what you pulled. Back then I'd lied and told him I was pregnant, so Adrian wouldn't let me overexert myself. I'd kept using that excuse to skip work. Never thought the old man, true to his age, would only now notice the company was circling the drain again. Dad, if the company's gone, it's gone. You're old enough to retire, call it early, isn't that nice? This time Rosalind couldn't stay on the sidelines. Ivy, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Snatching everything so your sister and your father are left with nothing, how vicious. I really wanted to bounce that line right back at her. Don't preach from your moral high horse here, you're just terrified your daughter ends up empty-handed. If it weren't for Grandpa, my father never could have started Vance in the first place. And the way he's run it, frankly, there's no point keeping it alive. Who says Dad's left with nothing? He's still got kids. Tell your daughter to hustle, Pretty soon the three of us will be splitting his retirement bills. My verbal barrage completely set her off, and her shriek rang out, shrill enough to hurt. Ah. Ivy, don't think marrying into the Hawthorne manor lets you run wild. If Adrian finds out you faked that pregnancy, you'll be tossed out on your ear. Don't come crying to your father then. Fake pregnancy, yeah, that's a bit shady, but it was only an excuse I fed them. Adrian still doesn't know. No idea if he'll be angry. Not your worry, honey. My husband is crazy in love with me, too embarrassing to flaunt it. I'm afraid it'll blind your titanium alloy dog eyes. She couldn't take it anymore, angry wheezes shook her. You. This time she skipped words and swung a slap straight at my face. A large hand locked her wrist midair and sent her stumbling aside. I froze. Adrian was back. He never came home at noon, wasn't he always at the office? Show my wife some respect. Then he called building security. Hello? Two lunatics here, kindly escort them out. Adrian pretty much knew my father's side treated me badly, so he felt zero obligation to be polite. President Hawthorne, don't let this witch fool you. Back then she seduced you, and now she's wrecking our Vance family. She's pure disaster. My father stepped up as well. Unfilial girl, scheming against her own family. Hawthorne, you'd better watch out. They were totally unhinged now. Seeing the tide turn, they decided to smash the jar they couldn't keep. Probably figured if they couldn't have it easy, neither could I. I instinctively looked at Adrian. Would he think the same of me? After all, I had lured him into the trap back then. Adrian came to my side and clasped my hand tightly. You have no right to badmouth her. If I hear another ugly word about her from any of you, forget staying in Riverdale. The two of them wailed as security dragged them away. Adrian brushed my cheek gently. You okay? I shook my head, a strange feeling swelling inside. From childhood to now, no one had ever protected me. Whenever Lily cried, they'd blame me, sometimes even Leo assumed I'd done something wrong. So when Adrian just stood up for me, he looked unbelievably cool. Why are you home? He led me indoors. You didn't answer my text, so I came back to see if you were up and feeling better. I pinched his hand. If it weren't for him, would I have slept in so late? Otherwise I wouldn't have bumped into Chase. He didn't mind, only chuckled softly. But once inside, he pinned me against the door. Good girl, say it again. Say what? I stared, blank-faced. What did you call me just now? I rewound the tape and my face exploded crimson. In the showdown with Rosalind I'd dropped the word husband, and he'd caught it. No. I turned my head, awkward. He tipped my face back and landed a loud kiss on my lips. Keep refusing and I'll keep kissing you until you do. After several teasing pecks I mumbled it. Husband. I ducked under his arm and ran off, mortified. I confessed I'd lied to my father about being pregnant. He didn't seem mad at all. It's fine. We'll aim for the real deal next time, I'll work harder. Excuse me? That's not what I meant. A hectic few days later, Leo was about to take his college entrance exam. I picked the brightest Cheongsam in the closet, wishing him a banner-waving victory. I'll come with you. You're too gorgeous, could be unsafe. Me, ever since the night I mentioned divorce, this man has turned into a clingy puppy who spouts outrageous lines. Don't you have a board meeting? I'll go by myself, stop being dramatic. Sure enough, when Leo walked out the school gate, Chase was nowhere in sight. He spotted me and sprinted over, beaming. Sis, you came. I treat Leo well because I don't want him to live through what I did. Sure, sometimes the kid stings, but we came from the same womb. The older he gets, the deeper his affection for me grows. Maybe he finally sees who truly cares. Exam's over, feels great, right? Big dinner on me in a bit. He looked like he wanted to say something but twisted in hesitation. Sis, I don't want to live at home. He boards at school and rarely stays in the Vance estate. Neither do I, I'd only drop by now and then, and 9 times out of 10 we ended up yelling. Sure. You can crash with me, or if hanging at your brother-in-law's feels weird, you can stay at my old place, I still have the lease. Kids grow up, they get their own ideas. After dinner I dropped him at my old rental. After all, teenagers need privacy, they prefer living solo. On my way home I drove past a rooftop lounge and caught a glimpse of a familiar silhouette. Adrian, hadn't he said he was meeting a client? What was he doing here? I parked, crept after him, heart thudding. A curvy woman stepped out, wrapped her arms around him. My nails dug crescents into my palms. Their faces were inches apart, so much for the Ice King who never went near women. Was this the long-lost first love everyone whispered about? She was luminous all right, skin so fair it seemed lit from within. We always do this, the moment jealousy bites we measure ourselves against the rival and spiral into self-doubt. Jerk. All that sweet talk about willingly stepping into the trap, about how much you wanted me, the second your white moon returns I'm disposable. When the two of them disappeared inside, the image froze on repeat in my skull. Furious, I stormed into the lounge next door and started charging drinks to my card. I'm going home to divorce the bastard. He could have agreed when I brought up divorce, then he and his first love could have flown off into the sunset. Instead he'd gotten angry and, well, thoroughly reminded me who held the reins. Thinking back, I'd definitely lost that round. I'd even felt guilty for suggesting we split. Ha! Scum. I lost count of the cocktails, only sheer willpower got me out the door. When I fished for my car keys I remembered, alcohol, driving, bad idea. I squatted on the curb, hugged my knees, and started to cry. Polished loafers entered my blurry field of vision, their owner knelt. What are you doing here? How much did you drink? I recognized the voice and felt worse. I shoved him. How am I here? I'd like to ask you the same. Adrian, if you don't like me, why not sign the papers? Stringing me along, fun for you? He frowned, baffled, but stroked my back gently. Talk to me. Don't accuse me out of nowhere. How can you say I don't love you? If I didn't, would I sleep holding you every night? If I didn't, would I move heaven and earth to keep you? Your sleepwalking disorder cleared ages ago, I just couldn't give up the excuse to pull you into my arms. Then he folded me against his chest. So don't sentence me without a trial, okay? Sincere as he sounded, the picture of him with that woman still burned. Then tell me, where were you just now? Who did you meet? I pushed him away, pouting. I met an overseas client who's back in the States. You saw us say hello? It's their culture, she's married, her husband was right beside her. Turns out I'd been drinking gallons of distilled vinegar for nothing. Mortified, I still blustered on. Then who is this long-lost first love everyone says you can't forget? Do you still want her? Perfect chance to solve the riddle once and for all. He chuckled softly. Yeah. I still think about her, every minute. Knew it, men are all the same. I jerked free like a squirrel slipping its leash. Then go find her, stop clutching me. He finally trapped me against him. I bit his shoulder hard, he grunted. Feel better, little fool? The white moon is you. The one I can't forget is you. The one I pine for, still you. He pressed my palm over his heart. This organ beats for you, only you. Me? You're the heartless one who forgot. That early summer day, you in a white sundress, glancing back while riding your bike, and you crashed straight into me. I racked my brain, nothing. He sighed. Never mind. It was ages ago, right after we both turned 18. Suddenly it clicked. No one had taught me to ride, so I bought a bike and taught myself. Ended up plowing into a guy fresh from a pickup basketball game. Mystery solved. To dodge the awkwardness, I faked total blackout, slumped in his arms. He carried me home. I was awake the whole time, one downward glance and he'd have caught my secret grin. So the man had been smitten all along. Call it fate. I almost felt grateful to chase. My father had sold Vance at a fire sale price, probably for the best. He's old, let the Chase trio live their happy little life, no more interference from me. I pretended so hard I actually nodded off. Tipsy as I was, no matter how Adrian coaxed, I stayed limp. He bathed me, tucked me in. When I woke, something cool circled my finger. I lifted my hand, a ring. The man beside me opened his eyes. Morning. Planned to propose last night, but someone wouldn't wake up. I took that as a yes. I stared at the diamond, delighted. We're already old married folks, what's with the proposal, silly? My mouth said that, my cheeks nearly split from grinning. He kissed my forehead. Not just the proposal, wedding, honeymoon, none of it gets skipped. I'll love you forever. I kissed him back. Heh, same here. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate today's story? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share with friends. We can't wait to read your comments, drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.